Welcome to part 3 of this series. For some time now, Xcode has introduced a better and more improved native way of formatting code. Before this, we mainly relied on Ctrl-I for basic indentation, which wasn't always enough. As iOS developers, we often had to turn to external tools like SwiftLint to enforce better formatting. In my opinion, that wasn't ideal, especially when other IDEs like IntelliJ have had advanced auto-formatting for years. In this video, I'll show you how every Xcode project can now have a custom configuration file at its root, which the formatter will use. This means your team won't have to worry about individual coding styles. These rules will enforce a consistent formatting guideline across the project. Let me show you exactly what I mean. For example, let's take the code from the first part of this series, or you can head over to my GitHub repo under snippets to copy the code from part 1. Let's copy the entire code, paste it here. Of course, you have to rename this class and this struct, so you can put a 1 here and a 1 here and import foundation, and we should all be good. Now let's add some indentation, multiple spaces here. Let's add spaces here. You can delete these functions. Let's use just one small example. So basically what I want you to do is just make your code as messy as possible in order to test these new formatting techniques. You can even add a semicolon because, as you know, Swift doesn't need them, doesn't complain about it, but as an unspoken rule, you should not add them. Now, as I told you before, we would have to use Ctrl and I. So select the code that you want to format and hit Ctrl and I. And it would indeed align these variables, but as you can see, these spaces are not removed. So this formatting option is not that advanced. But now Xcode has another option. Instead of hitting Ctrl-I, you can go here to Editor, Structure, and you can see this new option here, Format File with Swift format. The shortcut is Ctrl-Shift and I. And this will apply a more advanced formatting. So Ctrl-Shift-I, and you can see that the semicolons disappeared, the empty lines between the equal and the UID disappeared, and overall it's a better alternative. But you might be wondering, how does this formatting tool know what rules to apply and how to structure the code? Well, here comes the configuration file I was talking at the beginning of the video. So if you go to my GitHub page and access this repository, you can see that under part 3 I have a gist. And if you open the file, you'll see a collection of key value pairs defining various formatting rules. You don't need to memorize all of them, but if you're curious, I'll leave a link in the description to the official Swift format rules and their explanations. So basically, if you go to the Swift format documentation, you have the configuration here, like, for example, the line length. It's a type of number and it's the maximum allowed length of a line in characters. So if you go back to our rule, you can see that we have here line length. And we set this to 120. I guess the default one is 100 or so. So based on your team needs, you can tweak all these values. Same for the rules, right? So if you go to the rules section, we have rule documentation, and you can search for whatever rule you want and what it means. Like, do not use semicolons. If we copy it and search it in our file, we can see that it is set to true, as it should be. So what I want you to do is go to the root of the project, click new empty file, and name it as following: .swift-format, and remove .swift. Now go to that gist, copy the entire file and paste it here. And that should be enough. So now, in order to test that our project respects this Swift format guidelines, let's modify this to not use semicolons. Right now it's true. Let's change it just for testing purposes on false. Let's go back to our part 3 and let's add some semicolons here. Now, if we hit that shortcut Ctrl-Shift-I, we can see that semicolons are not gone. That means our configuration Swift format file is working. Let's go back, change this to true, go back, hit again Ctrl-Shift-I, and we can see that it automatically removed those semicolons. And that is really awesome. Now you might be wondering, relying on each team member to manually hit that shortcut isn't the most efficient approach. And you'd be right. What I found works best for our team is either using a GitHub action that detects a merge and automatically applies the formatting, or distributing a Git hook that intercepts each commit. This way, even if team members forget to format their code, the hook will automatically apply the necessary formatting before the code is committed. So as a short example, if you go to your project and show hidden files and then go into your .git folder, you should create a new folder here called hooks, like we have here. Then you need to create a file that is executable, like this. Then open the file with a text editor and just paste a simple script that will go through all the files that you modified in that commit and apply this command, Swift format. So this way, you'll always be sure that the code that will be on the remote will be a formatted and clean code. And that's it for this part. This is a really useful tip that's helped our team significantly, reducing the time spent during code reviews to check for bad formatting. As always, thank you for being here, and I wish you all happy scribbling.